11 women are clinging precariously to a wildly swinging rope suspended from a crumbling outcropping on Mount Everest. 10 are blonde, 1 is a brunette. As a group, they decide that if they are to have any chance of surviving, one of them will need to let go. If that doesn't happen, the rope will break and everyone will perish. For a few agonizing moments, no one volunteers. Finally, the brunette gives a truly touching speech saying she will sacrifice herself to save the lives of the others. All the blondes applaud. Sophia just got married, and being a traditional Italian, she was still a virgin. So, on her wedding night, staying at her mother's house, she was nervous. But her mother reassured her.
"Don't worry, Sophia. Angelo's a good man. Go upstairs, he'll take care of you."
So up she went. When she got upstairs, Angelo took off his shirt and exposed his hairy chest. Sophia ran downstairs to her mother and says,
Mama, Angelo's got a big hairy chest." "Don't worry, Sophia,"
says the mother.
"all good men have hairy chests. Go upstairs, he'll take good care of you."
So up she went again. When she got up in the bedroom, Angelo took off his pants, exposing his hairy legs. Again, Sophia ran downstairs to her mother.
Mama, Angelo took off his pants, and he's got hairy legs." "Don't worry, Sophia,"
says the mother.
"all good men have hairy legs. Angelo's a good man. Go upstairs, and he'll take good care of you."
So up she went again. When she got up there, Angelo took off his socks, and on his left foot he was missing all 5 toes. When Sophia saw this, she ran downstairs.
Mama, Angelo's only got a foot and a half."
Her mother replies,
"Stay here and stir the pasta. This is a job for Mama."
A Texan goes to Toronto for a vacation. He grabs a cab at the airport and tells the driver he's on his way to the Royal York Hotel. As the cabbie heads downtown, he passes Queen's Park. "What's that?" asks the Texan. "Oh, that's Queen's Park," says the cabbie. "It's our provincial government. It's like your state government. Those buildings are almost 200 years old, and they're quite big." "Well," brags the Texan, "we have buildings much older than that and at least twice as large." They continue along and pass the first Canadian place. "Holy cow," says the Texan. "What's that?" "Why, that's the first Canadian place. It's the biggest office complex in the country," says the cabbie. "It took almost 4 years to build." "Really?" says the Texan. "Why, in Houston, they have buildings twice as big and built in less than half the time." As they continue, the cabbie is starting to get a little miffed by all the bragging. Soon, they drive past the CN Tower. Now, the Texan has his head out the window looking up at the 1,800-foot tower with a rotating restaurant. "Holy cow!" says the Texan. "What in the world is that? How long did that take to build?" The cabbie nonchalantly glances out the window and says, "Heck if I know. It wasn't there yesterday." A girl goes to the doctor's office for a checkup. As she takes off her blouse, the doctor notices a red H on her chest.
"How did you get that mark on your chest?"
asks the doctor.
"Oh, my boyfriend goes to Harvard, and he's so proud of it that he never takes off his Harvard sweatshirt, even when we make love,"
she replies. A couple of days later, another girl comes in for a checkup. As she takes off her blouse, the doctor notices a blue Y on her chest.
"How did you get that mark on your chest?"
asks the doctor.
"Oh, my boyfriend goes to Yale, and he's so proud of it that he never takes off his Yale sweatshirt, even when we make love,"
she replies. A couple of days later, another girl comes in for a checkup. As she takes off her blouse, the doctor notices a red M on her chest.
"Do you have a boyfriend in Michigan?"
asks the doctor. The girl replies,
"No, but I have a girlfriend at Wisconsin."
One of the church matrons is in her kitchen meticulously preparing her famous beans for the upcoming church potluck. Her son, little Johnny, bursts into the house, a BB gun clutched in one hand and a handful of BBs in the other. In his haste, he trips and the BBs scatter, many of them landing right into the simmering pot of beans. Little Johnny freezes, realizing the potential for trouble. After a moment of contemplation, he decides it's best to keep quiet and avoid any punishment. The potluck proceeds smoothly, and, as always, Jane's beans are a crowd favorite, quickly devoured by the congregation. The next day, the church secretary, Mary, calls Jane with an unusual question.
Jane, your beans were fantastic as always, but did you add something different this time?
Jane, puzzled, replies,
No, nothing different. Why do you ask?
Well,
says Mary,
this morning I bent over to feed my cat and ended up shooting my canary.
Dave and Joe are bungee jumping one day. Dave turns to Joe and says,
You know, I bet we could make a ton of money running our own bungee jumping business in Mexico.
Joe thinks this is a great idea, so they pool their money together, buy everything they need, and head for Mexico. When they arrive, they begin setting up the equipment on a bridge while a curious crowd gathers below and watches. Slowly, more and more people gather to watch them work. When they finish, there is such a large crowd they think it would be a good idea to give a demonstration. So, Dave positions himself at the edge of the bridge and jumps. The cord is so strong that Dave bounces all the way back up to the bridge. Joe is amazed but notices that Dave has a bloody lip. Joe unsuccessfully tries to catch him but fails, and Dave falls then bounces back up again. This time, Dave's head is bruised and bleeding. Again, Joe misses him, and Dave falls and bounces back up to the bridge. This time, Dave looks battered and is almost unconscious. Luckily, Joe catches him this time and asks, What happened? Was the cord too long? Did you hit the ground? Barely able to speak, Dave gasps,
No, the bungee cord is fine, but... What the heck is a piñata?
3 men are stranded on an island. They're close to starvation when a native tribe finds them and takes them back to their camp. The leader says,
Go into the jungle and bring back a fruit. Then we will let you live.
They go out looking for fruits. The first guy comes back with a peach. The leader then says,
Now take the peach and shove it up your bum. If you laugh, we will kill you.
He attempts it, but has to laugh. So they cut his head off. The second man appears back from his trip with a grape. The leader gives him the same instructions. At first, the second guy doesn't seem to have any problems, but bursts out laughing midway through his test. He too is beheaded. In heaven, the 2 guys meet. The first guy says,
I laughed because the peach's fuzz was tickling my bum. Why did you laugh?
The second man responded,
I was doing fine. Until I saw the third guy come back with a pineapple.
A blonde walks into a novelty store. She sees a shiny container sitting on a shelf and asks the clerk what it is. The clerk says,
It's a thermos. It keeps cold things cold and hot things hot.
The blonde is so impressed, she buys one. She can't wait to return to work so she can show off her new thermos to her coworkers. After arriving at work the next day, it's not long before one of her peers asks about her new shiny container. The blonde replies,
It's a thermos. It keeps cold things cold and hot things hot.
Her coworker asks,
Well, what do you have in it now?
The blonde says proudly,
A popsicle and 2 cups of coffee.
Two men, who don't like each other very much, find themselves sitting next to each other in a barber shop one afternoon. Both men are there for a much-needed haircut and shave. Despite their mutual dislike, they try to make the best of the situation, burying themselves in their reading material, avoiding eye contact, and any potential conversation. As the barber finishes shaving the first man and reaches for a bottle of aftershave, the man quickly raises his hand to stop him.
Forget it, buddy, he exclaims. My wife will take one whiff of that and think I spent the afternoon in a whorehouse.
The barber nods, putting the bottle back on the shelf. As the second man's shave nears completion, his barber also reaches for some aftershave. The barber pauses and asks his client, "How about you?" holding up the bottle. The second man grins and says, "Sure, go ahead." My wife doesn't know what the inside of a whorehouse smells like. On the first day, God created the dog and said,
Sit all day by the door of your house and bark at anyone who comes in or walks past. For this, I will give you a lifespan of 20 years.
The dog said, "That's a long time to be barking. How about only 10 years and I'll give you back the other 10? So God agreed. On the second day, God created the monkey and said,
Entertain people, do tricks, and make them laugh. For this, I'll give you a 20-year lifespan.
The monkey said, "Monkey tricks for 20 years? That's a pretty long time to perform. How about I give you back 10 like the dog did?" And God agreed. On the third day, God created the cow and said,
Go into the field with the farmer all day and suffer under the sun. Have calves and give milk to support the farmer's family. For this, I will give you a lifespan of 60 years.
The cow said,
That's kind of a tough life you want me to live for 60 years. How about 20 and I'll give you back the other 40?
And God agreed. On the fourth day, God created man and said,
Eat, sleep, play, marry, and enjoy your life. For this, I'll give you 20 years.
But the man said, "Only 20 years? Could you possibly give me the 20, the 40 the cow gave back, the 10 the monkey gave back, and the 10 the dog gave back? That makes 80 years, okay?"
Okay,
said God.
but remember, you asked for it.
So, that is why our first 20 years we eat, sleep, play, and enjoy ourselves. For the next 40 years we slave to support our family. For the next 10 years we do monkey tricks to entertain the grandchildren. And for the last 10 years we sit on the front porch and bark at everyone.